Happy Information Wednesday, Shalise McQueen here. I hope this message finds you all well. I've had several clients approach me over the past several months regarding Mexican car insurance because the reality is they want to know, does my car insurance cover me when I cross the border? Living here in Arizona, a lot of us like to escape to Rocky Point, for example. And the answer to that question, short and sweet, is no. The second that you cross that border, your car insurance no longer has coverage for you. So I'm going to talk about in detail what Mexico's requirements are, how the process of car insurance works as far as getting Mexican tourist insurance, and also the different options you have. So stay tuned. So the nitty-gritty, the whole purpose of this conversation is the second that you cross the border, your current auto policy, again, provides no coverage. And before you do make your trip to Mexico, you need to make sure that you do have your Mexican and tourist insurance in place. And Mexico itself does have some rules of liability limits, just like we do here in the States. And so Mexico requires a $5,100 minimum of liability, which seems like nothing. And they have several tiers of insurance, just like we do in the States. You could have just liability only, and then of course it goes all the way to another policy and then full coverage. What's great about the full coverage policy through your Mexico tourist insurance is they do the typical things like your liability, your property damage, medical payments. They also offer gap coverage, which we talked about in an earlier video, roadside assistance, and then a legal assistance. So in the event that you did have an auto accident, as I was saying, this legal assistance is a great endorsement and perk that is included on their auto policy as with full coverage. Because if you are in some kind of named lawsuit in a foreign country, you're likely don't know the language. You're certainly not going to know all the laws and the rules, or have a connection down there to get legal assistance and hire an attorney. So the fact that that's kind of built in your policy definitely is a nice endorsement. So now the question is, what does Mexican tourist insurance actually cost? So based on $25,000 of property damage with the Mexico required minimum limit of $5,100 liability, we're looking at about $85 for 2 days. So if you were to average that out, it's the same price in essence if you had a nicer rental car. That breaks down to $35 a day or so, plus the taxation. Clearly, the more coverage that you obtain as you go more towards the full coverage, the more pricier the insurance is going to get. But when you're dealing with a foreign country, I'm always a fan of being overinsured versus underinsured. And when you are in a foreign country, you don't know the rules, the laws, how everything works, how you're going to communicate with the person that you have an accident with, what kind of insurance they're carrying, how their insurance company handles things. There's just all these different variables that you just don't know. So I definitely recommend having err on the side of caution, a full coverage versus having the required minimum versus the liability and just having property damage. But if you have any questions on today's conversation, as always, I'm here as a resource for you. You can reach me at cmcqueen@farmersagent.com or at 602-525-5665. Until next time, stay healthy and safe, and we'll see you next week.